Hello everybody, Cindy Ashton here from Your Persuasive Voice. Now, if you have ever wondered how to give a great TV interview, hang tight because I'm going to show you a recent TV interview that I gave and really break it down for you so that you truly understand what it takes to show yourself off as the expert that you are.
Cindy, when I was back in high school 1,000 years ago,
Yes.
there was a wonderful book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Fabulous book.
That was written by a definitely male point of view.
Yeah.
You are here to help especially female entrepreneurs. What are some of the special tips you can offer female entrepreneurs to be successful and stay on track?
So this first clip that you're about to see, he asked me a very general question, but notice how I spun it in a way that showed off my expertise and what I'm great at doing. But also notice that I stated what the problem was right away, and I said to the audience to get them set up in their mind that they're about to hear 4 things to never do. And then with those 4 things, I was quick and to the point, and I kept it visual so they can stay interactive with me. And then when I gave my solution, it was very actionable. No woo-woo stuff. So just check this out and see what you can learn from it.
First one is how you show up in your presence. And I love to talk about body posture because a lot of us say, oh, you need to stand up and be straight. So there's 4 types of body postures you never, ever want to do. And the first one is, oh, I need to be confident, so I need to sit up straight, stand up straight. Notice what happens to my speaking voice. All right, now I'm trying to have good posture, and now my voice is very loud and aggressive. Does this turn you on or off, DJ?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is what I call the pusher. The other one is the women who tend to slouch. And when you slouch, it cuts off some of your air and makes your voice a little bit more softer. And so I'm a little more meeker. And would you want to buy from me right now with this meek little voice? It doesn't really command confidence. The other one is what I call the chicken neck. So this is a person who's networking, and they stick their neck out, and they're like, hi, it's so great to meet you, Lorraine. It's great to meet you. You see, it's very obtrusive. The minute you're in somebody's energy space is the minute that you lose a sale or a deeper connection. And the last one applies more to men, but it's very important to talk about it. It is what I call the roaming pelvis. You see, men have way too much testosterone sometimes, and they go to these networking events, and their pelvises are like roaming out, and it's like, okay, dude, you gotta like step away from this pelvis. Like, it is in my space. So men need to be really careful of their body posture because they make people feel very uncomfortable with their roaming pelvises. So those are the 4 that you never wanna do. In terms of posture, how do you get into good posture without taking the tension in? So I have an activity that everybody's going to do, including our viewers, called cactus arms. We take a breath in, and we're going to drop our shoulders, and we just hold this, and you'll feel the tension and breathe into the tension. Do it for 30 seconds, and then relax. And then it just releases all the stress so that you have a naturally open chest, but you're not taking in the tension and you're not sounding aggressive.
You know, anybody who takes sales training learns right away, before you sell your product or your service, you have to sell yourself.
Right.
And so how long do you get to make that first impression?
3 seconds, the minute someone sees
you have to overcome it for a while if it's not a good one. Correct?
Oh, yeah.
So what are some of the tips that you're going to talk about to make your message stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So in this next one, as usual, I was succinct and to the point in stating the problem. And when I gave the solution, I gave very, very concrete answers so that you could really visually see how you fix the problem. But what I really want you to notice is that after that, I named the elephant in the room, which means that I was about to say something that I knew some people would be like, what? What does she mean by that? So I made sure to name the elephant in the room so it gets that crap out of their head and they'd be willing to listen to what I had to say.
So a lot of people tend to be very general and a little too woo-woo in their networking. So they might come up to me and say, hi, it's so great to meet you. Oh, Cindy, it's great to meet you. And I'm like, great, what do you do? And they'll say something like, well, I help you to declutter. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And so I know what declutter means, but what does that mean to me?
Sure.
And so I had a client that had that message a few years ago, and we reworked it too. I help entrepreneurs with messy desks to organize their leads so they can follow up and get more sales. Now, do you see how that's really real world? It's specific. And I can tell you that the majority of the people hearing that either have a messy desk in their office and they go, oh, that's me. Or they go, oh, my desk is clean, but my leads are all organized, but not that organized, in a way to follow up. Or, all right, I've got no messy desk. I've got organized leads, but I'm having issues with the closing of the sale and following up. So just by changing that statement to being real world and specific, most people have those challenges, and then it stimulates a deeper conversation. Most of the time, people just have a generic message, or they go into their story. And entrepreneurs hate it when I say this, but I don't know you. I don't care about your story. So you really got to capture that attention in the first 10 to 20 seconds just to get the conversation started. And then you can go deeper and show your fabulousness.
And Cindy, some of the things that you advise entrepreneurs on is marketing for speakers, networking tips, sales advice, your speaking voice, storytelling and speech writing, and success principles. How important is it for someone who is in business for themselves the first time to capture all of this as soon as possible to make that great first impression?
Yeah.
So in this next clip, I show my point of view when it comes to presentation skills that's radically different from a lot of people out there and what they're doing. So I didn't make anybody else wrong, but notice how I stated my point of view. And most people would be like, what? But then what I did is I then explained it, showing problem and solution. As usual, I was succinct, soundbited, and to the point.
So I would say if you're just starting out, it could be really, really, really overwhelming. So the best advice I have is to go back to what we talked to earlier. Get really real world with what you do. The more woo-woo and generic you are, the less attention you're going to grab. So that's one of the first things. The second thing is that I tell people to learn how to de-stress. Because when you carry stress in your body, that directly influences your speaking voice and your presence and how you capture attention. So if you were to go into a business meeting, a sales conversation, a networking, or stand on stage, and you've got that mind going, okay, I'm new in business, I've got to close sales, I've got children to feed, I've got this and this and this, then all of a sudden you come across with a pushing energy, and people can subconsciously feel your energy. So a lot of what I work with as a speaking and presentation coach is how do you breathe into your body, relax into yourself, and allow people to be drawn into you as opposed to you pushing your energy on them.
And you mentioned overcoming obstacles. You got a real early start in overcoming obstacles in real life, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, this is a big one. So earlier in the clip, you saw that I hate it when people ramble about their stories, right? Well, he asked me about mine. So notice how I told my story. Again, I was succinct and to the point, but notice how I related it back to the audience so they could see themselves in my situation, which is exactly what you want to do.
So since I was a fetus swimming in my mother's belly, I knew I was destined to be on stages and helping the world. But my body had different plans for me, and I was born with heart failure and a 20% chance of living. And the left side of my body was structurally damaged. So I had to wear casts on my legs to be able to walk and learn, and had to have speech therapy to learn how to speak, let alone be a performer and to do all the stuff I do. And because of all the heart surgeries and all the trauma my body had been through, and all the cuttings of bones, tissues, and nerves, I was left in chronic pain. So when I talk about the pushing energy, because I was in chronic pain, I would come across, I had a lot of credentials, but I came across aggressively and I wasn't getting results. And this is why I do what I do, because I see so many entrepreneurs who are brilliant and taking all the right steps and not getting results because of their presentation style and the stress they're carrying in their body.
And on that,
all right, so clearly what you've seen is you need to have a real world problem with a real world solution that's actionable in sound bites and with great visuals. You need to have a strong point of view and be able to explain it. You need to have a great story that you can relate back to the audience, and you need to be able to name the elephants in the room that might have people going rawr and be able to deal with that so you can still persuade and influence them. Now, these are skills that are not only great for media, but you need to have these down for if you're speaking on a stage, a sales conversation, if you're networking, for every part of your business. If you've got this down, awesome, that's excellent. If you don't, let's schedule a consult and see if we're a fit to work together. Just click on the link.